This is another in my series of countdown lectures to the end of the world. 9 days to go. And I found something interesting. I'm going to be doing, or I was going to be doing, a series on how to become aware of your own fourth dimension, but since the world's ending, I won't have time to do that. This short lecture is based on the premise that the reason we think the universe is three-dimensional is we only have developed 3 forms of receptivity. And these are paralleled up with the first, second, and third dimensions, where we have the point, the line, the surface, and the cube. The next step in that theory is that all three-dimensional objects are points on a line in the fourth dimension and are actually all connected somewhere we're not able to perceive. And that we know nothing about things in themselves. And an analogy would be the bats that come out at night and use sonar to capture insects are probably quite happy with their life and their mode of perception. They know not too much about light, but there could be scientists, biologists out there with lighting and cameras and capturing them and tagging them and doing things with them. And to them, these would be beings they could barely perceive it, if at all. They might get a two-dimensional radar picture of something back, but the ability to think beyond their box into beings that live in daylight and control electricity and look up into their own starry sky and wonder what is a pretty big stretch for a bat. And it's a similar-ish kind of situation for a human being, because he's let himself be smallified into a meat body to take the leap up into the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensions. So I'm going to be doing a series on that. This is a little bit about that. It's skipping the first third of the theory, but it leads to something nice. So, from 1912, translated from the Russian, in order to exactly define the relation of our psyche to the external world and to determine what in our receptivity of the world belongs to it and what belongs to ourselves, let us turn to elementary psychology and examine the mechanism of our receptive apparatus. The fundamental unit of our receptivity is a sensation. This sensation is an elementary change in the state of our psyche, produced, as it seems to us, either by some change in the state of the external world in relation to our consciousness, or by a change in the state of our psyche in relation to the external world. Such is the teaching of physics and psychophysics. Into the consideration of the correctness or incorrectness of the construction of these sciences I shall not enter. Suffice it to define a sensation as an elementary change in the state of the psyche, as the element, that is, as the fundamental unit of this change. Feeling the sensation, we assume that it appears, so to speak, as a reflection of some change in the external world. The sensations felt by us leave a certain trace in our memory. The accumulating memories of sensations begin to blend in consciousness into groups, and according to their similitude, tend to associate, to sum up, to be opposed. The sensations, which are usually felt in close connection with one another, will arise in memory in the same connection. Gradually, out of the memories of sensations, perceptions are compounded. Perceptions, these are, so to speak, the group memories of sensations. During the compounding of perceptions, sensations are polarizing in two clearly defined directions. The first direction of this grouping will be according to the character of sensations. The sensations of a yellow color will combine with the sensations of a yellow color. Sensations of a sour taste with those of a sour taste. The second direction will be according to the time of the reception of sensations. When various sensations constituting a single group and compounding one perception enter simultaneously, then the memory of this definite group of sensations is ascribed to a common cause. This common cause is projected into the outside world as the object, and it is assumed that the given perception itself reflects the real properties of this object. Such group remembrance constitutes perception. The perception, for example, of a tree, that tree. Into this group enter the green color of the leaves, their smell, their shadows, their rustle in the wind, etc. All of these things taken together form, as it were, a focus of rays coming out of the psyche, gradually concentrated upon the outside object and coinciding with it either well or ill. In the further complication of the psychic life, the memories of perception proceed as with the memories of sensations. Mingling together, the memories of perceptions, or the images of perceptions, combine in various ways. They sum up, they stand opposed, they form groups, and in the end give rise to concepts. Thus, out of various sensations experienced in groups at different times, the child gets the perception of a tree, that tree, and afterwards, out of the images of perceptions of different trees, there emerges the concept of a tree, i.e. not that tree, but trees in general. The formation of perception leads to the formation of words and the appearance of speech. The beginning of speech may appear on the lowest level of psychic life during the period of living by sensations, and it will become more complex during the period of living by perceptions. But unless there be concepts, it will not be speech in the true meaning of the word. On the lower levels of psychic life, certain sensations can be expressed by certain sounds. Therefore, it is possible to express common impressions of horror, anger, pleasure. These sounds may serve as signals of danger, as commands, demands, threats, etc., but it is impossible to say much by means of them. In the further development of speech, if words or sounds express perceptions, as in the case of children, that means that the given sound or the given word designates only that object to which it refers. For each new similar object must exist another new sound or new word. If the speaker designates different objects by one and the same sound or word, it means that in his opinion the objects are the same, or that knowingly he is calling different objects by the same name. In either case, it will be difficult to understand him, and such speech cannot serve as an example of clear speech. For instance, if a child call a tree by a certain sound or word, having in view that tree only, and not knowing of the trees at all, then any new tree which he may see, he will call by a new word, or else he will take it for the same tree. The speech in which words correspond to perceptions is, as it were, made up of proper nouns. There are no naming nouns. Just verbs and adverbs. And adverbs themselves have the character of proper nouns. That is, they apply to a given action, to a given quality, or to a given property. The appearance of words of a common meaning in human speech signifies the appearance of concepts in consciousness. Speech consists of words, each word expressing a concept. Concept and word are in substance one and the same thing. Only the first, the concept, represents, so to speak, the inner side, and the second, the word, the outer side. Or as Dr. R.M. Buck, the author of the book Cosmic Consciousness, says, a word, a concept, is the algebraic sign of a thing. It has been noticed thousands of times that the brain of a thinking man does not exceed in size the brain of a non-thinking wild man in anything like the proportion in which the mind of the thinker exceeds the mind of the savage. The reason is that the brain of a Herbert Spencer has very little more work to do than has the brain of a native Australian. For this reason, that Spencer does all his characteristic mental work by signs or counters which stand for concepts, while the savage does all or nearly all his by means of cumbersome recepts. The savage is in a position comparable to that of the astronomer who makes his calculations by arithmetic, while Spencer is in the position of one who makes them by algebra. The first will fill many great sheets of paper with figures and go through immense labor. The other will make the same calculations on an envelope with comparatively little mental work. In our speech, words express concepts or ideas. By ideas are meant broader concepts, not representing the group sign of similar perceptions, but embracing various group perceptions or even groups of concepts. Therefore, an idea is a complex or an abstract concept. In addition to the simple sensation of these sense organs, color, sound, touch, smell, and taste, in addition to the simple emotions of pleasure, pain, joy, anger, surprise, wonder, curiosity, and many others, there is passing through our consciousness a series of complex sensations and higher complex emotions, moral, aesthetic, religious. The content of emotional feelings, even the simplest, to say nothing of the complex, can never be wholly confined to concepts or ideas, and therefore can never be correctly or exactly expressed in words. Words can only allude to it, point to it. The interpretation of emotional feelings and emotional understanding is the problem of art. In combinations of words, in their meaning, their rhythms, their music, the combination of meaning, rhythm, and music in sounds, colors, lines, forms, men are creating a new world. They are attempting therein to express and transmit that which they feel, but which they are unable to express and transmit simply in words, i.e. in concepts. The emotional tones of life, of feelings, are best transmitted by music, but it cannot express concepts or thought. Poetry endeavors to express both music and thought together. The combination of feeling and thought of high tension leads to a higher form of psychic life. Thus, in art, we have already the first experiments in the language of the future. Art anticipates a psychic evolution and divines its future forms. Here we have another philosopher saying that artists are creating the future. And a backwards proof of this is generally artists can't make any money doing what they're doing because they're creating the future. And people don't really believe in or know much about future because they haven't listened to the rest of my lectures on having your own fourth dimension. But all those paintings from the past that now sell for $1 million, $5 million, $20 million in the future, from the time when the painting was made, are given their due. People realize there was something going on there. So if you are an artist of any kind, please get busy. It's been a goal of the New World Order psychopaths to get art out of the culture. They've downgraded the music into electronica. They've taken music programs out of schools. They don't teach and show literature anymore. And there is a reason for that, which is this is another arm of keeping people away from spiritual development. So if you're a singer or a musician or a guy in a band or a painter, if you're a painter, get painting. Most painters aren't painting. I meet painters, they're not painting. Paint every day. Get up your butt and paint every day. I have a friend who's a painter. He makes $4,000 a day because he does a painting every day. He paints the underpainting in the morning. He finishes up in the afternoon and does that all week. And then he takes them to a gallery, and the gallery owner pays them for him. So, anyone else? Screenwriters, playwrights, poets, even tapestry makers, collage makers, jewelry makers. I have two lady friends who are jewelry makers. They make wonderful, not only is it wonderful looking jewelry, it's actually good for your body. They're crystals and wire thing creations that align and improve your energy. What is their reward for that? It's nice. So please get busy, and as Anelia Ben says, contribute to uplifting the vibrational tone of the planet, which is what I hope is really going on in these last days.